How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Fourever Arsenal podcast. We have got a game this weekend. I know there's been postponed fixtures here and there over the last week, but we are playing this weekend. We're one of 7 fixtures going ahead this Sunday midday, and it's an away fixture against Brentford. We're all very familiar with that after what happened last season in the first Premier League game. And yeah, I'm seeing smiles around. Is there a bit of confidence in the air?
No, I see Lee acting like he's falling asleep. What's he doing?
It's just like to let everybody know that we're up at the crack of dawn today because of a certain person, and Turkish. It's not me, it's not you, and it's not James. Just saying,
You're gonna have the comment section there. You see, he's even bringing them down.
The man's got no shame. I'm just saying that's all we've got.
I've never been an early bird catches the worm sort of person.
Do you know what? I've known you a few years now, and that doesn't surprise me. I've switched on the computer, and to my surprise, you was there. I thought you took a photo of yourself, and hopefully it was.
You don't even know. I missed both my alarms. Someone came and woke me up 3 minutes to 8. I thought, all right, cool. I've made it.
How can you go through 3 alarms? I tell you that. You know what I mean?
No, I can do that. My subconscious just goes fuck off and just turns it off. And by the third, I kind of realise why.
You two should be police officers in the bank in the robbery squad, though. You know what I mean? Don't worry. Let's go back to sleep, James.
Come on, boys. Early doors, early morning. Crack of dawn. Yeah. Let's go. New day.
Let's go for it. Let's go.
I look forward to the 5 a.m. Christmas Day show, Jordan makes.
Special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are here. We made it, people. 8 a.m. Friday. Obviously, this does come out later on. It'll be out tonight. So it would have been recorded earlier today. As you can see, it's all smiles. Arsenal haven't played in a little while. We've got a game coming up. Before I get into the game, should we touch in on that England squad and a lack of Ben White? I know it's caused a bit of an uproar amongst the fan base, especially online. What's our thoughts and feelings around it then?
Can I add some early context, which it's only the one journal I've seen report it, but I think Charlie White has said that he does have an ongoing injury or something that's maybe, I had it here, let me just quickly find it. But the point is, there might be an injury that's keeping him out. Charlie White, Ben White is suffering with an ongoing hip and knee injury, hence his omission from the England squad. However, it is not that serious. So maybe that's some context. But if I'm honest, knowing Gareth Southgate, it's probably got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but I'd like him to come out and say that I was injured and that's it, But because at this moment in time, if that's not the case, I'm a little bit annoyed about it. I'm not going to lie. Ben White's in the squad. What has he done wrong not to be in the squad? I think he's been Arsenal's arguably best defender this season.
Maybe that he's playing right back caused that, and considering Gareth Southgate's got 4 right backs on, he's taking 4 right backs. He needs to already cut down in that. But do you think that hampered his chances, Lee?
No, I don't, because John Stones has played 1 game this season. Do you know where it was? Right back, in the Champions League. If he's going to take players that are playing subs, he's got a few there to take, isn't he? Because Maguire's done, let's be honest, Maguire cannot get in the Man United team when they're playing Sheriff, because he's not. So how can you, he's going to play 1 or 2 Europa League games. I'd rather have someone playing right back and playing every game than not. And I also think that Ben White will play a couple of games at central defence, going along the line. Yeah, I think Dyer, on current form, Dyer probably deserves to get in the side. Calvin Phillips, let's talk about him. 6 minutes of football. Why the hell would you go to Manchester City 6 months before a World Cup? Money. Because he's guaranteed to play at Leeds. He wasn't playing a lot last season for injury. So the first thing that he needs is to have minutes. 6 minutes of football, and he's in the side. 12 defenders, I think it's 6 midfield players or four or five midfield players. Ridiculous balance of a squad. Luke Shaw, how many games he played this season? Mason Mount, has he been playing? Has he been pulling up trees for Chelsea this season? Well, I look at it and I think Maddison's been playing very, very well at Leicester. I think there's there's a little bit of favouritism for Gareth from Gareth. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they're around there doing his garden. You know what I mean? Someone's doing his weeds, someone's mowing his lawn to get into this England squad.
Is that a euphemism, Lee, or do you mean literally doing his lawn, doing his garden?
I reckon someone's doing his washing up, like, you know what I mean? The dishwasher's broke apparently, like, you know what I mean? And so, but I don't know. I think it's just, I'm a little bit upset about it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Even if he was injured, there's players in there that are injured that are still in it. Connor Cody, let's talk about him. He's had to leave Wolves to go to Everton to get games of football. Ben White, I think he's being very, very disrespected by Gareth Southgate. I really do. I think he's a very, very good defender, Ben White. Doesn't get the credit.
I think he's disrespected by the Arsenal fan base, actually, Lee. Not everyone. Well. I'm sure a lot of people watch this and quite like Ben White. And when I say it, by the way, I'm not saying that everyone should think he's brilliant and faultless and all that, because I don't even think he's brilliant and faultless. But there are people, I think, that watch Ben White and actually just don't think there's a very good defender. Then everyone's completely and utterly entitled to their opinion. But it surprises me because I think he's a very modern defender who he gets in front of his man. Yes, he's not that kind of like, how do you describe it? That kind of John Terry-esque defender. Although I think he's shown that little bit of last-ditch defending to his game. But I think he gets in front of his man a lot. He kind of is good in one-on-one duels. He's fast. And he is very good on the ball. That is why Arteta ultimately likes him, because he's a very front-foot defender. So, yeah, I don't think he really gets the credit he deserves. I remember going into the start of the season and everyone was saying, oh, but Ben White, a right back. I'm not sure about that. We're going to want Tomiyasu back as soon as possible. And now there's a legitimate debate about whether Tomiyasu even gets back into this team. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, Ben White. If it's an injury that's kept him out, fine. But I'm with you. I think Southgate has his favourites. And I'm actually okay with him having his favourites. I think if you're an international manager, you're going to these tournaments, you want a group that are familiar with what you're trying to do. And I know the Luke Shaws and Harry Maguires of this world don't deserve that place on performances, but they do on what they've done for Southgate. And I can understand that. What I would say is if it all goes horribly wrong, he can't make any excuses. He picked these boys, and everyone knew the form they were in. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I get it, but I'm also going to be even more critical if it doesn't go the way he wants.
Jordan, you want to touch on there?
Yeah. On Ben White, first of all, it's a bit of a baffling one for me. I must admit, I do think the Arsenal fan base do tend to whinge and moan about their players not being in the England squad often, and I don't often agree with them. On this one, the fan base, I am in agreement that Ben White should be in that squad. He should. He just should be in that squad. Now, if we take the injury possibility that James mentioned earlier on to a side, if he's injured, then cool, fair enough. But if he's not injured, he should be in that squad. I'm 100% with James. All I've heard this week, and all I ever hear about Gareth Southgate is he's a hypocrite. He keeps talking about picking players on form, and then he picks him, and then he picks him. Why is he in? Why is he in? What Gareth Southgate has always said is, I'm going to pick players on form, but also players who can fit in the system that I want and that works for my squad. But people seem to always forget that last bit. So they always remember the bit where he says form, well, why is he in? But it's also important to Gareth Southgate that you can fit in, that I can trust that you know what I want you to do. As an international manager, you cannot pick purely on form. You can't. Because I remember Gary Neville said it once on Monday Night Football years ago when he was with Roy Hodgson at the England setup. You can't pick a guy that in the first quarter of the season has scored 8-9 goals and ripped it up start of the season and drop the guy that hasn't, your Harry Kane, for example, that hasn't scored a goal at all on the basis that he's had a good 3 or 4 months. Because if you pick on form, your squad will change every single call-up. You can't do it purely on form. I agree. Harry Maguire, I'm not a fan. I never have been. I think he's a good player, no more. But for Gareth Southgate, he does the job. We can't deny that. And again, James has nailed it. If picking your favourites and upsetting the nation because your players from your team haven't been selected, if it goes pear-shaped, he will be held accountable. And he will get the heat. He will get fired. He will get heat from the media, heat from the nation. So he has to live and die by what he picks. So I'm fed. I'm so bored of people crying about this player not being picked because Gareth Southgate said on form. The bigger issue for me is not so much he's picking players to go to the World Cup that won't be on form. It's what Lee alluded to earlier on. The bigger issue is people like Luke Shaw won't have kicked a ball. It's fitness and match sharpness. That's the bigger issue for me. You can't go to a World Cup for me if you're Luke Shaw, if you've not played any football. How does that happen? And in particular, someone like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, these are guys that let's be. I'm going to try and be polite with my words here. These are guys that need to be staying fit because these are guys that if they don't play regular football, they go out of shape very, very quickly. Some players naturally, genetically, they cannot play for 4 or 5 weeks and still be relatively fit and nimble. We know Luke Shaw's had problems in the past regarding fitness. So the bigger issue for me isn't Southgate is picking players that aren't on form. He's picking players that are... Where is Luke Shaw getting his minutes from? Where? And don't tell me about an under-23s match because that's a different level of intensity completely. Where are some of these guys getting their minutes? That, for me, is the bigger issue rather than the lack of form. It's the lack of fitness. You can't just go to a World Cup having played one game in the first part of the season. So the England squad, for me, in the main, I think is the right squad. But, Gareth Southgate, I'd like to know, is this squad he's just picked an experimental squad where he's still trying people out? Or are we looking at 80% of the squad that are going to go to Qatar?
Well, we're looking at 95, I reckon.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a great point that Jordan makes there about players doing jobs and things like that, and I totally agree with that. But my issue with Ben White is that Ben White was in the squad in the Euro squad, played all the time. Didn't play all the time, but was in the squad. Has been in the squad all season, so like comes into this summer in the squad. What has he done other than, in this stage that he's not injured, what has he done to come out of that squad? You know what I mean? That's where I say is it a favourite, because if you look at it, he's been in the squad, he's doing everything that he's doing. And I think at times it must be even difficult for those guys that are going to a championship or a World Cup, not playing, not getting any minutes, but have still, giving up their time and everything like that. Where I think that, those sort of players are just as important as the actual players that are starting. And so to be left out of it for no reason, and I think is there. And do you know what? If it does go wrong, I hope he does fall on his sword, because you know what, he deserves to.
I think he walks either way. Sorry for I think if he wins the World Cup, I think he walks away. I think if he doesn't win the World Cup, I think this will be his last tournament anyway. Do you know? I don't think he'll be sacked. I think he'll step aside, whatever the result, come the World Cup.
I'm more probably not upset, but I'm more concerned about the players that have been picked. I'll be honest. I'd rather players don't get picked for
100%. 100%.
Saka could have done with a rest. I'm not so much Ramsdale. I'd probably like him to start, and as a goalkeeper, the risk of injury is minimal compared to the players out. Obviously, playing outfield. But I just think, in my lifetime, I think about international tournaments, and I think about England squads, and I think about the back end, and the feeling is always a feeling of deflation, frustration, anger, sadness. And England's side very rarely, and maybe it's Euro 96 the last time that happened. Maybe Lee can stop me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time England came out of a tournament with a good repertoire with the media, the fan base, and so on, might have been 96, and even then it was a hard pill to swallow back then. I remember, because it was hosted in the country, and a lot of expectation around it. But look, England made the final last year. Saka still comes out of it getting abused, potentially affecting his morale. It's happened to Beckham years ago. It happened to Rooney. It's happened to Lampard, Gerrard. It's happened to many a player. So I just look at it and think, listen, if you're not picked, you're not picked. I hope that these players don't put too much on being picked, because I feel international football has lost a bit of its I feel like it's lost a bit of something. I'm not sure international players are as much after an England cap as they are after some exposure in the England team anymore. Whereas before, it used to always be about love and passion.
I disagree, Turkish. Sorry to cut you. I disagree, because I think in years gone by, yes, but I think now there's a momentum and there's an excitement around this England team, and I think those young players do want to play for England. I think those guys do want to be part of what has been a very successful 6 years, where England have got to a couple of semis and a final. So I actually think if you're Saka, I think you do want to go and be part of this. I think in years gone by, it's felt like a bit of a chore to go for England. I imagine it's like, oh, we're rubbish. We ain't going to do anything. This is pointless. But I think this England team, I don't know. I think players that don't get called up for the Qatar World Cup will be gutted. I think as fans, I'm with you in the sense that this is probably the one World Cup that, as a fan, I don't want any of my players going to the World Cup because of the fixture congestion and it being in the middle of the season. But I'm not sure that it's true that England players don't have that urge and excitement and that want to go and play for England. I think right now for them it's quite fun playing for England. Playing for Southgate. Do you know what I mean?
And exciting. It is exciting because you're right, Dad. We've got to check. The last two tournaments, we got to the semi-final and final. In theory, if we had a decent manager, we'd have probably won both.
Harsh.
I'm serious. I think we played up against no one. We got very, very fortunate in the World Cup with the draw. We only played two decent teams in that, Belgium and Croatia, and lost to both. The Euros. I'm sorry. If he'd have been more proactive and gone for the game with the players that he had in the squad, I think we'd have beaten an aging Italy team. That's my opinion. So I think that we've been very, very fortunate to get to the two finals. Sorry, I forgot about your allegiances to Italy.
My allegiances change every day. Depends.
Of course they do. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen that as well. Like,
watch me this Winter World Cup. England. Well, I don't even have the chance. How do they go?
England.
I'll have a Saka shirt on. That's all.
Definitely. Like, I suppose you'll be following Italy in this World Cup, will you?
Yeah, that's the joke. Well done, Lee. That was the point I was making.
I know that you're making that point, right? You know what I mean? And if I'm anywhere near you, you know what I mean, you start cheering on England, I'll be kicking you up the backside, like, you know what I mean? You showed your allegiances in the Euros.
Listen, I told you they come and go. I'm
funny.
Shameless. What do you want from me?
Shameless.
Turkish, you mentioned Ramsdale just then and him being called up, and it'll be great if he starts. And I guess the question to all three of you, I mean, Pickford, I was discussing it on my radio show last night, and Pickford's injury, apparently he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks, which is tight. He'll go to the World Cup. That's no doubt about that. But do we think there's a chance that Jordan Pickford doesn't start that first game of the season? And if he's not fully fit, should he?
Who's been called up in his place?
Pope, I think it was. Is it Pope?
Yeah.
Ramsdale?
Was it Pope or Henderson? Now, which one is normally the
Pope's not has been in the last couple. Henderson's
Henderson's been called up. Yeah,
right. I bet you anything Henderson starts now. Gareth goes, you play for Arsenal? Right, Dean, in you go. In goal, please.
I feel like Jordan Pickford's one of his favourites as well, to be honest.
Yeah, loves him.
Yeah, I get that.
So do you think if he's 70% fit, he can and should start for the first game?
He'll give him the Maguire treatment. He'll bring him and then play him from like match 3, 4, whenever he's actually fit. I think.
I do think I watched Pickford in the game against Liverpool. He was outstanding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he was absolutely outstanding, and he's one of these guys at the moment that doesn't deserve to be left out of the team. He's had a couple of bad games before that. Remember, he made a mistake in one game. Ramsdale come in, done okay, but didn't do. Ramsdale played like he's formed to the latter part of his Arsenal career instead of the beginning. I think Ramsdale has got an opportunity, because I do think he's number 2, Ramsdale, let's be honest. He's got an opportunity in these 2 games to really now a chance of playing. And I'll tell you why, because you're right, Jordan, if he comes back 6 weeks. But what if he has a setback in that 6 weeks? So if it, which can happen, when you have an injury, comes back and it goes again, then he's gone. Then there's no way he can be in the squad. So I think this is an important time for Ramsdale. I think probably, do you reckon it'll get 1 game each? So it's whoever it is has got a real chance to nail down a possibility of starting in this World Cup.
This is maybe need to be edited out, maybe not. But are we recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so I can't see the timer in the top. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I just started thinking. There's no.
Lee was making a point. I just sort of saw you.
Well, I wanted to wait until he finished his point.
I'm actually cutting you for that, like. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I can't see the clock in the top corner. Sorry. This is.
How's he got a job? How's he got a job? How's this bloke got a job? I honestly don't think he's got a job. I honestly think he just gets us up in the morning just to make himself relevant. That's what I'm saying now, like.
We've actually been recording 20 minutes, Jordan.
There's no clock on my one. Anyway, sorry, as you were.
Just so you know, we've covered Ben White and his injury, Ramsdale and the England squad, and we're about 21 minutes in. So
okay. I've got no clock on my one.
Actually got me worried there, because I'm thinking to myself, wait, are we recording? I can see a ticker, but what's with this guy?
I've got the ticker on my one.
At 8 a.m.
Sorry.
This is what he does. It just causes disruption.
Chaos.
We woke up, it's pitch black outside to record at Jordan's times, and we weren't even recording.
Back to Ramsdale. Do you all think he's a stick on number 2? Is that certified without being biased Arsenal fans? I
can't say for sure he is, because Southgate's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Pope's done well, hasn't he?
Could be Pope.
Pope has done well, yeah.
Can I, on Ramsdale, I know he gets a lot for his recent performances, and maybe as a pure shot stopper, he's not been quite at the level in the first 6 months of his Arsenal career. His distribution is something else.
It
really, really is.
It's brilliant.
You know what's not an easy pass? You know that he did it against United all day long. You know that kind of chip ball to Ben White at right back, and it looks easy because Ben White's in a little bit of space, but actually to not overhit it, and if you underhit it, they've got the ball and they're running at your goal. If you overhit it to throw in United's attacking third, but he puts it on his right foot every single time, or on his chest so he can sort of turn. He's unbelievable. He's nailed that. I mean, he's been practicing that clearly. His distribution's unbelievable.
I'm with you on this, James. And the other thing is, I don't like it. I know this, you might find this very, very strange. I do not like it when our goalkeeper is England's goalkeeper, because as soon as they make us say, every other one's on him. You know what I mean? Like it was Seaman. And I don't enjoy watching England games. As soon as the shot's coming in, please save it, because I don't want him to get pillared and then lose his confidence for Arsenal, or get, you know what I mean? So I'm a very... part of me wants him to be in goal, and then another part because it's Aaron Ramsey plays for Aaron Ramsdale because he plays for Arsenal. But there's other part of me thinking, I'm not keen. I don't know why. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it when our goalkeeper's in goal for England.
I think we say all this, but realistically, if that opening match, Ramsdale's in goal, Saka's on the right wing, and I don't know, maybe Ben White starting a back 3. I think we'd all feel quite happy about that. I think we'd all feel good that our players are getting the recognition they deserve, whether it's better or not for Arsenal. I think there's a little bit of pride that comes with that. I think there's a little, this recent Brazil squad, and we're all speculating why the 3 Gabriels aren't in it. I think really we would love nothing more than for Jesus to lead the line over Richarlison, Gabriel Magalhaes to start centre-back with whoever, and Martinelli probably would do really well to start over Vinicius, Neymar, and all that. But to certainly be getting minutes, I think we take a lot of pride out of that. To be fair,
yeah. Do you know what's funny? Of the 3 England players that play for Arsenal, you just named there, James. I think that Ben White, in a weird way, has the best chance of starting of all 3 of them. I get it. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Trent won't be going to the World Cup. I know he's in this current squad. I don't think Trent goes, and it wouldn't surprise me if Ben White does get called up, because if he's got a little knock, it just makes no sense to me that Ben White isn't in this squad. It can only be because Southgate's like, you're going to the World Cup, you've got a knock, sit this one out. and he wants to kind of see some other players. I can't think of another reason why he's not, and I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah,
if
but
Ben
Jordan, if Trent doesn't go, we'll only have 8 right backs.
That's true. This is true.
Yeah,
This
I
is
He
mean,
true.
likes his back three, and I think Ben White would suit very much into a back three as well. By the way, I think Ben White would be a very, very good player in a back three.
I don't think Trippier was in the lead-up games to the Euros last summer, and then he started the first 2 games in the group stage.
started left back, didn't he?
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was a
Southgate getting a bit
curveball like that.
clever tactically with Trippier at left back. Yeah, he called our bluff. It wasn't 8 right backs. It was actually 6 left backs and 5 right backs. So
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
Anyway.
Right, cool. Well, enough about the England squad because we have got a game in the Premier League this weekend. I'm kind of not. I kind of wanted that Everton home game because I saw that as one of like not a perfect fixture, but a good fixture to come back after the United game. The United loss. This one, on the other hand, a lot of question marks over it. It's a difficult fixture, difficult away test. Good team, Brentford, and you know, forget what happened last season. I'm looking at them this season, and I'm looking at some of their players. And look at Tony; he just got a call up to that England squad that we just talked about, so he's going to be flying high. I've just got something in the back of my mind that a bit of doubt about Sunday, and I don't mean that we'll lose the game, but I can see Brentford taking something from it. We need a big performance on Sunday. Partey, apparently he's nearing return. I don't know, James, is that true?
Yeah, apparently he was kind of basically sort of ready to get some minutes against Everton. The question was whether they'd rush it, and now he's had a full kind of week of training on top of that. So,
which is big for us, but is it decisive enough for me to say, all right, Partey's starting, we're going to win the game? No, but it makes us a hell of a lot stronger.
Well, the rumours are that Zinchenko's injured, so whenever you're watching this, that might have been more confirmed or not. But that I kind of feel if Zinchenko's out, you really want Partey in there at least. I think you want some real technical security in that kind of base that we tend to build off. Yeah, but if Partey's fit, he starts for me. And Tierney would come in for Zinchenko. So a couple of tweaks here and there. If Ben White has this injury, well, we're going to find out, aren't we, on the weekend? So it could mean Tomiyasu coming in. Maybe not a bad thing to deal with the aerial threat that they do have. They tend to have a few players in the box when they get a delivery, and Tony being one of them. So, Arsenal can maneuver. They can work these situations out better than they could have, a year ago or even 6 months ago. But I'm with you. I'm not overly confident with Brentford. They're one of those funny teams where, like, they could go on a 5-match losing run. They could. And I think even last season, when Rito Eriksson came in and kind of restarted their season, they weren't all that. But they have these performances, the 3-3 draw against Liverpool, the 4-0 with Man United, the beating us at the start of last season. They have these performances where they can be really, it could be a bit of a fortress going there. They could be really difficult. So we have to do the whole, get your mentality right. Our 11 on paper is better than their 11. Go play your football, win the game, get out of there. That's got to be how we think about it.
Yeah. Lee, you was their first game of the season last season, right?
No, I didn't go. It's one of the toughest places to go. For a football team, and as a fan as well, I ain't got a ticket for this game as well. Had the credits, but didn't get it. So it's a difficult one. So I think it's a difficult game all round. I think that for me, when you lose a game like we did against Man United, a game when I felt we played well enough to not lose, you've got a nice home game coming up next to try and get yourself back on track. We now, because of what's happened and the circumstances, it means that game weren't on, and now we've got another back-to-back away games. And this is my problem with this season. This is why I think this is a massive, massive game, is because last season we'd go on runs where we'd win 5 games, then we'd lose 2 games, 3 games. There would always be sets. It's like a game of tennis. You know what I mean? Like we had like set wins, set defeats. We never actually went one defeat and then backed it up with 3 or 4 wins. We'd go and lose a couple or draw. If you go back and look at the fixtures list last season, that happened all the time. So we need to sort that out and show that we are learning and showing that we are a different sort of side. And I think that we are. I'm confident that we'll get back to basics a little bit in this game. I think that if I was Mikel, I'd go back to a little bit more basics. Shinchenko playing, I would have actually played Tierney in this game and gone back to a solid back four and make sure we didn't concede, and then look at getting something from our front three. So I think it'd be a tough game. I think Brentford are a good side, but if Manchester City were playing them, I'd expect Manchester City to go and win. If Tottenham are playing there, I expect Tottenham to go and win. I expect all the big guns to go there and win. And if they don't, like Man United didn't, it's more on Man United than it is on Brentford. And that's the way it is. By the way, I thought Brentford was superb that day against Man United. But the reason that Man United lost that game is because Man United didn't turn up as well, you know. So Arsenal have got to turn up, produce a good defensive performance. And I think that it's going to be a very, very tough game. But these are the games when you look at and go, do you know what? Arsenal are a proper team this year, or a proper club. Or somebody like, look at Man City, they've gone there and won, you know, they've gone there. Somewhere along the line, everybody now thinks Man City are going to win games and Tottenham are going to win games and Chelsea or whoever it's going to be when they're challenging. They have to start somewhere, and they get these results against these sort of teams and you go, oh, look at them, they've won that game there. And that's what Arsenal have got to do now. Like, you know, everybody believes Arsenal are a good side. Don't give anybody encouragement to doubt that. You know, go there, win the game, and look at the outside neutrals and go, look at Arsenal, gone and won there 2-0, gone and won 3-0 at Bournemouth, gone and done this, gone and done that, and just get that momentum up and get that thing in there. And also, I'm saying this now, we've got a difficult October coming up. We need these points on the board for what we need to be doing. If we was to lose to Brentford, you know, we've got some real tough games in October. All of a sudden, we're 5th, 6th going into the World Cup, and that's going to be, we're going to be all a bit uneasy. But if we can continue to keep going, we will be in a good position. So I think this is a massive game for Arsenal. I'm not going to reveal my score because I don't go first, but I feel that we need to win this game, and I think that we will.
Too early. Jordan, talked about Ben White a lot. I've mentioned Gabriel recently in terms of errors and maybe lapses in concentration. Coming up to the Everton game, I did say to myself, you know, maybe it's time to see Saliba and Ben White together and give Gabriel something to think about, considering I haven't been impressed with a couple of his performances this season. But now we had that break in between. I was talking to Robbie yesterday. Robbie said, you know, you can't drop Gabriel. You know, you need a physical defender against Tony. What's your thoughts on it?
I'm with you in that there have been a couple of performances where Gabriel, I don't think he's been crap, but he's been a little bit. Oh, hang on a minute. I don't think he's had enough of those yet to warrant being dropped just yet. But I'm watching him. As I think you are, I'm keeping my eye on him because he has been, of that back four, he has been the weakest, if you like, in moments. I wouldn't drop him just yet. I'd still persist with him. I feel like these are the sorts of games that get you top four. These are the games at the back of the season. You look back and you're like, we went to Brentford and we got something. I gave my 6-point plan of what I want my Arsenal to do this year. One of them was take points in games where we don't play well. And this might be one of those games where we're not the better team, but yet we have to come out there. And Lee mentions the likes of Tottenham and Spurs. And, you know, these guys will leave Brentford with something, if not a win. So I think we've got to make sure that we get out there with something. One of the other things on my 6-point plan was hard work. I've still not seen a game this year against a team that's outworked us. Every game we've played this season so far, I've been very, very happy with our work ethic. We've worked harder than every single team we've played this year. We've lapsed in concentrations at times, but in general, the work rate has been to my liking. This is the sort of game we have to impose ourselves. We have to go there confident. Brentford are a good team. They are a good team. But as I mentioned, if we're going to get top four, these are the games where, for me, a draw minimum is what I expect. We have to go there. We have to work hard. We have to be physical. We have to put it on them and take our chances, because there won't be many chances in this game. In my opinion, I think it will be a low chance game, definitely for us anyway. So these are the games that I think differentiate between 4th and 5th. For me, you look back on the end of the season and think, right, we got 3 points at Brentford. That wasn't easy. Everton at home, I agree with you, would have been a nice follow-up game from the Man United defeat. But we are where we are. Let's not make excuses. Let's just get on with it and get the job done.
Thoughts around that, James, in terms of the defence, Lee, as well?
Yeah, well, the one thing I'll say is there'll be no excuses for a lackluster performance, because a lot of the first team has got minutes out in Zurich. So I think we'll be playing 10, 11 days after our last game, probably 10. They'll be playing a whole 2 weeks. So there's no real excuse for us turning up and looking like, oh, we haven't played for a while and we're not quite at it or whatever. That should really be the same for them. I understand they'll get up for it. It's Arsenal. It's a home game and all that. But really, in terms of match sharpness, we should be fine. It will just be, Jordan said there, Brentford are a good team. Let's just be better. I know it sounds really, it's the most basic analysis you'll ever hear. They will put it on us. They'll have some chances. They'll have their moments. Tony will have his moments. And I think sometimes when we're watching Arsenal live, and we're very tense, you kind of, any moment they have. I remember Bournemouth having a few throws, and I thought, oh, they're putting it on us. No, they didn't. They didn't do anything. Every team is going to have their moments at times. But we just got to keep fashioning chances. One thing I've really liked about Arsenal this year, in the first 2.5 years under Arteta, how long has he been in?
3.5.
Oh, nearly 3.
I thought it was 3.5.
So, no. So he came December 2019. So this December will be 3 years. So in the first 2.5 years, I think you could have pointed to a team that struggled to create chances, and actually, how often did they score sort of more than 2 a game, really, or whatever? What I've liked about us this season is we actually look at a team that can create quite a few chances in a game, that when we go behind against Fulham, we're able to turn it around. When we concede against Villa, against the run of play, we're able to find a goal in us still. And that's what I quite like. We went to Old Trafford. I don't think we ever deserved to lose that game on the balance of chances and play. So I'm confident we'll create something at Brentford. So yeah, just be solid at the back. Deal with Ivan Toney. They're going to have their moments, but take ours. And if we can go into international break top of the league, then it starts entering the realm of we're saying the top of the league doesn't sound as ridiculous. When it's early in the season, 3 games in, it's like, oh, we're top of the league. But I kind of think come the return of the international break, our post-international break,
it's still early.
No, it's still. I'm not saying I'm not calling for title challenges or whatever, but I'm saying there've been enough games.
Kind of are.
I think by match week 10 that the table starts to look like where you'd expect most teams to be, if that makes sense. So then we can start actually enjoying saying that after 10 match week. What would Brentford be? Match week 7?
Yeah.
Match week
7's been postponed though, so
right. So it'd be 8, but it'd be our 7th game.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's a little early. I think by 10 games in,
10 games is the first time I look at the table. 10 games.
That's what I mean. Yeah, we're not far off that.
10 games will tick off Tottenham and Liverpool as well, because that's.
Oh right, we'll forget everything I've just said then.
That's a couple of the fixtures coming up, so.
But let's enjoy it while we can. All that.
I think that's the goal. I think James makes a point there. The goal is to go into the international break top of the league, and then what it is to go into the World Cup in the top 4. You know what I mean? That would be that's the 2 goals that Arsenal have got to do, and to get that they've got to beat the likes of Brentford. But what I will say is this season in the last, do you know what? I'm enjoying watching Arsenal play. I'm enjoying it. As we lost to Man United, I'm annoyed because we played well, not because we were rubbish and we didn't create this and didn't do this and everything like that. Arsenal are playing good football and it's enjoyable. For the first time in a very, very long while, the football was enjoyable. It was a tough watch at times watching Arteta's teams. It was tough, you know what I mean? It was a chore going to games. I've got to go all the way up here and all that there. Now, I'm looking forward to every game we're playing, whether it be Europa League, because I'm looking at a few of the youngsters playing, or a game like this. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm looking forward to this game because it will tell me a little bit more about Mikel's new Arsenal? Are they going to be challenging? Are we going to be doing this? Are we going to be doing that? And people go, oh, like Brentford, it's only 7 games and that. Yeah, but these are games that are very, very important, because if you win this game, it ain't going to define your season. But come the end of the season, you're in the Champions League by 3 points or 2 points. It's these games that get you there. These games, you know what I mean? Like, not the Manchester City away, Liverpool away. It's these games. These are the ones, and these are the ones where you pick up points away from home. And then, like, at the end of it, when you go to likes of Liverpool in a few games time, or Tottenham and all that, you've got points on the ball, points in the pressure's off a little bit. Like, you know, if you can get these results, it's very, very important. If we can chalk up another win here, we're in a very, very good position going for top 4. People go, oh, challenging for the title, but if you're first and second for 6-7 months of the season, you know what the chances are you're going to hit top 4, and that is the attitude we've got to have. I expect Arsenal to go there and win. I expect Arsenal to be in the top 2 by the end of October, and we've got some real tough games, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, even in November, away to Chelsea and away to Wolves are not easy. You know what I mean? If we can be in the top 4 come the end of that, going into the World Cup, Arsenal in a good position, and that is key. But this game is very, very important. I can't emphasise it enough. If we lose this game, you know, it will be a lot of people will be turning around and go, oh, look, you know, he wins a few, loses a few. This is so important for us to just get back on track and just prove to people that we're a different Arsenal this time around. We're different in lots of ways. What I'm seeing and what I'm watching, prove it with points as well.
Oh, you're muted, Turkish.
Sorry. Here we have the prediction league. I just said James is doing that so far, top of the table, 8 points. But he's joined with Lee and me and Jordan there, 6 points apiece. Not much in it, but there hasn't been much movement in the past few weeks because of a lack of correct scores and whatnot. But we'll get into it. Starting at the top of the table, James, prediction for the Brentford away game?
I'm having a frantic look at Brentford's last results. What do? They beat Leeds. Oh, they beat Leeds 5-2. That's a good win.
1-1 against Palace.
And they drew at Palace.
Yeah.
But then they drew with Everton at home.
Lost to Fulham.
Okay.
Yeah, lost.
This is what I mean. They're a funny team. I know Everton are on a decent run of form, but you know, they drew with Everton at home. They lost at Fulham. That was straight after they beat Man United 4-0. Okay. What do I think?
You won't have the whole show to think about it, James. You know, I mean, this is.
The pressure of getting top's getting to him, isn't it? Like, you can see that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he ain't even got his notebook out. His stat pack is left at home. Like, you know what I mean?
I see what Jordan's doing now. Let's get him up early in the morning. He's delirious. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Yeah.
All dishevelled and discombobulated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who are we playing? I'm okay. Okay, let me just reveal where I am. I'm very torn between a 1-1 and a 1-0 Arsenal.
Come on, get on with it.
Why can I just hear the commentators like on the week of his call up, Ivan Toney? It's like, oh God.
Go 1-0.
Okay. I'm gonna back my boys. 1-0 Brentford. 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Cool.
Oh, I don't feel right about it, but
locked in. Lee,
come on.
2-0 Arsenal. No beating around the bush. This is an important one for us.
You were going to go 2-1, weren't you?
No, I wasn't going to go 2-1. I was always going to go 2-0. I'm backing the boys, and I'm backing my defence.
All right, we've got a couple of men backing their boys. Jordan, are you doing the same?
I'm not. I'm going for a draw. I've got
Jordan. The old comments will be going mad now. He's a Spurs fan.
I'm going 1-1. 1-1. I think 2 late goals as well. I think it'll be 2 late goals. But yeah, 1-1.
Yeah.
What minute subs are you thinking?
57th and 69th.
Ooh, that first sounds like an injury enforced one. We'll look out for
that. I've had 2 shows so far. I predicted 1-1, and I'm going to go with 1-1 again.
Like it impacts anything. Well, I'm with you. I'm with Lee. It stresses me out.
Simon, if it finishes 1-1, me and Turkish then go to the top of the league, right? Replace you two Muppets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Muppets now, are we, James? All right, no, it's all right, that is it. Says the fella that's never got a prediction right, and we're Muppets. So I don't know what that means either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave it in the comments what you think of it, lads, won't you? Like,
94 predictions, 0 correct. 0. Do you know what? Can I big up Roger Federer, who just announced his retirement? And one of the great stats was all the matches he played and 0 retirements. When Jordan one day leaves the podcast, it'll be 200 episodes, 180 predictions, 70 points, 0 correct score.
Legend.
With the clapping emoji. A true legend.
A true legend of the YouTube game.
Shit, you lot are making me doubt my 1-1 now.
Of course, you went with Jordan's.
Yeah, he went with Jordan.
Turkish,
listen, this is what he's done to you, Jordan. He's got you, Turkish. He's got you up early, and your brain's gone all funny, like,
Yeah, I see the plan.
But now we're saying this, we've absolutely set it up for Jordan's moment.
Don't you start losing faith in the Arsenal, James. We will win this game. We'll be back. We go into the game for third in the league. And we're bounced back to the top, Don't worry.
At risk of getting battered in the comments, I just want to say I will happily take a L here if Arsenal win. I do not want to see a 1-1. I don't want to see a 1-1, but I kind of.
I want Leeds result, a clean sheet. I think we need a clean sheet, so 2-0.
Yeah, I think we desperately need a clean sheet, and we really do, boys.
We do. When
it's 1-1 and Arsenal win it in the 95th, and Jordan's there like. Oh. Yeah,
smashing my laptop.
Listen, we all know what it is. It's a bit of fun, but come on, Arsenal. Let's
get the job done.
Bounce back. This is one of those fixtures. It's a nice one to get out of the way. If you can get 3 points and look back on it and go, I remember Leicester last year, Wolves last year, Villa away. I remember coming away from that going, oh, those were banana skins, and we just didn't slip. We kept walking. We got through 3 points. Let's just do something like that again.
Let's just get the job done. Arsene Wenger talked about potentially challenging for the title recently. Anyone want to touch on that, or
why not? Like, why are we scared of saying we can't challenge for the title? I'm going to say this now. I've not been that impressed with any of the teams at this moment in time. Certainly, Liverpool have not been. They're a shadow of the team that they were the last couple of seasons at this moment in time. Chelsea are all over the place. Tottenham, I don't think can sustain what they're doing and playing how they are as trying to be a counter-attacking team all the time and get results that will challenge for them. But everybody's saying that they can challenge. Manchester City, by the way, I've been impressed with Haaland and all that, but they've actually struggled on a few games this season, to get themselves over the line. They've blown teams away, but other times they've not. So why can't we put ourselves in the mix? Why can't we? We've got a good team. We've got 3 very, very exciting forwards, a defence that should hold up, a very, very good goalkeeper. Well, I think that I'm not saying that we're going to win it. I 100% not saying that, but I think we're going to be up there this season. I really do. So I'm putting my head on the block, and I why not?
My definition of when people talk about title challenges is subjective, and my definition is: come 8 to 10 games or 8 games to go, are you still within a realistic sniff of winning the title? With 8 games to go, are you in the mix? You can't title challenge in November, December. It's done. And the reason why I think we're not going to be title contenders, because I don't think with 8 games to go, we will still be within a chance of winning the Premier League title. That for me is a title challenge. City will win this league for me by a distance. Yeah. Therefore, there's no challenger. There's no challenge because City, I think, will run away with it. And I think 8 games to go, we'll know by then that City are going to win the title. So that's why I don't think we are good enough at the moment. We're not ready to put a sustained period of 6-7 months of football together to really push City and be within 3, 4, 5 points of them. We're not ready. So that's the reason. Our midfield's not good enough. Our defence is better, but not good enough. We've still got one top forward. Let's have it right. We've got Jesus, and behind that, we've got Nketiah. That is not a squad that is ready or has shown any pedigree of being able to push City over the course of 30 games. That's why, for me, we're not in a title challenge. But that's maybe me being negative, but that's how I view it. A title challenge is when it really comes down to it, with 8 games to go, with a month and a half to go, are you still within a chance of winning the title? And I don't think that would apply to us.
Well, I will say that I do agree with Jordan on that, but we've got a January transfer window that will tell us a lot as well. If we're in that top 4 or say, dare I say it, first or second, going into that World Cup and into that January transfer window, if we were to add 3 or 4 players to it, we could be in there. So I think that there's circumstances on and off the field. So let's see. But if we're going to be title challengers or challenge for a title, got to beat teams like Brentford.
You do.
Yeah, you
and the World
do.
the World Cup's the curveball as well. Sorry, James. The World Cup is the curveball. That could, I think that will throw up a bit of a freak scenario for somebody. So that's the one thing to hang on to think that actually City might not. But that aside, City win this league comfortably.
Yeah, I agree.
It's nice hearing Wenger talking about Arsenal. I really think it's time for his return to the Emirates in some way, shape, or form. I think we're at a stage where we can start. He was always welcomed back, but I just think maybe there's a period of time he didn't want to be back, and Arsenal were not doing particularly well.
The wound was raw, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're on the up. I think we'd love to have him back at the Emirates. I'm just speaking for myself. There's no doubt he deserves a statue for me outside the Emirates. I don't know if you all agree. And I think in the next months and years, we should be putting all that in place. And, and I'll add to that. It's nice hearing Henry saying he's excited by this team. He said that as well. So, these things, they matter to me. They really matter to me. If they're getting excited, I feel like it's validating my excitement as well. And if they're not, I ignore them and I get excited anyway. But that's not the point.
Definitely. When I heard Henry speaking and over the last 2-3 years in particular, a lot of Henry's words have really resonated with me and how I was feeling at that time, including his most recent. Because as you know, James, going into the season, I've been a lot more optimistic than previous. And when you hear Henry saying that, and it falls in line with my thoughts at this moment in time, it's nice because I think a lot of players have sold themselves to the club over the years, and they've kept themselves quiet for a bit of change. But Henry's never done that, and Henry, I always hold him to the highest of regards. He always holds Arsenal to the highest of regards. So, yeah, definitely to hear that from Henry was refreshing, to say the least. It must be refreshing for Arteta too, because I remember in January when Henry said top 4 or failure. There was a lot of pressure on Arteta, and I think he was asked about it and he kind of dismissed it. So yeah, it's looking good. It's sounding good. We move on to Brentford, like Lee said. If you want to be in the title challenge, if you want to be in the top 4, you got to be taking points away from teams like Brentford at their own ground. So hopefully we do it. All predictions are in. 2-1 James, 2-0 Lee, and me and Jordan have gone 1-1. Hopefully Lee's right. I'll take James' result too, but if not, we'll take a point, people. Let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. Lineups, thoughts on Arsene Wenger's comments, predictions, all of that as usual, people. Hit the like button on the way out. And we are also back on Sunday for a special live episode of Fourever Arsenal podcast at 9 p.m. Sunday to see out the result and talk about that. Jordan?
So you can get your comments in live to me while I'm talking. We can have it actually during the stream. We can, if you're feeling brave, join us on Sunday and let's get into it. Yeah,
that'd be great. 55 minutes in. So James, what did you think of the Brentford game then? Yes, 55 minutes of Jordan
Listen, if we win, Jordan can do what he wants, mate. I'll sit back.
Oh, do you know what? I know Lee will have a cocktail in his hand.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, like, I'm looking forward to that. It's an evening one as well, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Couple of beers, you know what I
a
mean?
couple of beers, there'll be a few beers, and they'll be ready to go, like, you know what I mean? So,
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, people. Lee, James, Jordan, as always, love. We'll be back Sunday, people. Hit the like button on the way out. And yeah, let us know if you've enjoyed the show in the comments below. Peace. We're out.